Frederick Douglass once said, "Without struggle, there can be no progress." Martin Luther King Jr. once called the 1199 not just his favorite union, but also the authentic conscience of the labor movement.
I'm fully confident that you will be successful in eliminating poverty wages and winning decent standards in local 1199 contracts.
Our union has a proud history of being an integral part of this country's most important social movements for justice and for equality. 1199 has had an unmistakable presence on the front lines of the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, the movements to end apartheid, to end unjust wars, and to bring respect and dignity to the working people in the healthcare industry and beyond. Throughout our history, beyond the moral authenticity that 1199 members bring to the table as caregivers, it has been our ability to organize that has yielded victories. Victories both small and large for the larger purposes of social and economic justice.
Our ability to win, to motivate, to drive our employers and elected officials to do what is right is rooted in our ability to organize.
1199 has always been a major force within the social justice movement. But the power of organizing for social justice transcends even our great union. It is a global and universal current that runs through every just struggle the modern era has seen to build a better future for the next generation. The proof is all around, even when it goes unnoticed, even as the standards established by our predecessors in this movement are under attack. The 40-hour work week, laws against child labor, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. From the women of the mills in Lowell, Massachusetts, who struck in the 19th century for basic rights and dignity, to the protests following the infamous Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire of 1911, which led to union organizing rights being codified to federal law in 1930. All of these victories for human rights and working people would have been unachievable without widespread and vigorous organizing efforts to bring them about. But there are new forces trying to turn the clock back on what working people have achieved. In Wisconsin, Ohio, and elsewhere, the very right to form a union has come under attack. A controversial Supreme Court ruling has granted corporations personhood, as executive profits and pay skyrocket and wages decline.
And there are various ways of doing that. One is we could raise taxes on people. That's not the way. Corporations are people, my friend. We can raise taxes on. Of course they are. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people.
Meanwhile, other leading presidential candidates from the right wing have gone so far as to call child labor laws stupid.
Entrapping children in, first of all, in child laws which are truly stupid. Okay, you say to somebody, you shouldn't go to work before you're what, 14, 16 years of age. Fine. You're totally poor.
In 1980, the average CEO in the United States earned 42 times the median worker's pay. Today, that gap has expanded, as the average CEO in the United States now makes 343 times the median worker's pay. And from 1979 to 2007, income for the wealthiest 1% in the United States grew 275%, while the poorest Americans saw little to no meaningful income growth. In fact, from 2000 to 2010, the U.S. median household income actually decreased by $3,719 per year. Once again, working people face a significant challenge in the form of growing corporate power and income inequality. While public services suffer and healthcare funding faces cut after cut, many of the largest corporations pay zero taxes while enjoying record profits. General Electric, State Street, ExxonMobil, corporations paying nothing in taxes while spending billions on think tanks, public relations, the Tea Party, and other gimmicks to create a political narrative blaming the poor, the sick, and people with disabilities for the challenges our country faces.
That is the most important thing right now, I think, in affecting social change, is to educate people as to what exactly is going on, and to educate them that, as a group, we can do something. We can hold corporations accountable.
At this point, we have two choices: allow our country to live off the scraps left to us by the wealthiest 1% and corporate CEOs, or we can do what has had proven results in the past. We can organize. Every organizing movement begins with one thing: a conversation, a person-to-person conversation about the urgency of the moment. We need to engage in real conversations, delegate to member, member to member, caregiver to caregiver, about the urgency of the moment that we're living in now.
And just as before, when faced with insurmountable odds, working people are finally mobilizing, creating a national conversation about inequality, income disparity, and the role of corporate influence over our lives. As 1199ers, we are again at the heart of this movement. But in this new reality, it will take more than a handful of committed activists to overcome the challenges we face.
It's going to take all of us working together, having conversations with our coworkers and friends, not just to win a contract, but to win a better future. One where corporations pay their fair share so we can fund healthcare, schools, and public safety for our children and our grandchildren.
That is why in 2012 we are launching a campaign, the 2500 Conversations campaign. This is about members talking to members, caregivers talking to caregivers about the need to get active. I know this can be hard. There is a lot competing for our attention, but the reality is we need to grow our numbers of active members beyond the folks who are watching the video in this room. We need a membership that is engaged, active, and ready to fight for what's right. We have conversations all the time. We need to get those conversations focused on making the connection between what's going on in the world right now and how organizing is the solution. There are many examples of how this gets results.
La importancia de la conversación del miembro organizador con la comunidad es algo muy efectivo. Es efectivo al final porque tú estás poniéndote en el zapato de la persona que tiene el problema y juntos pueden buscar una solución, porque la Biblia dice: mi pueblo perece por falta de conocimiento. Nosotros a veces no tenemos la solución de las cosas porque desconocemos o no tenemos la educación o la orientación que necesitamos para buscar la solución del problema.
One-on-one conversations are important because it starts the movement. It starts the growing. It's like the seed. You're planting the seed.
Mi respuesta sería que es importante el tratar con la persona cara a cara, por razones de que eso lo motiva, puede entender más, es más factible para que el oficial pueda entender cuál es la importancia de estar organizado.
Every little bit helps. One person cannot do it. Two people cannot do it. We need everyone to contribute.
We have to affect change as a group. We can't do it individually. I think part of the problem here in the United States is we've become very complacent individually, and as a group, even if it starts off as a small group, you start to bring a dialogue between people. That's extremely important, and it's becomes educational.
So right now we're launching the 2500 Conversations campaign. We're going to ask our delegates and member leaders to engage in conversations, connecting the struggles at work to the struggles they're having in their community, and then to the opportunities where they can make a difference. This is not a one-size-fits-all solution. This is about increasing our active membership base so that we can win. Win in the worksite, win in the community, win across this country in the fight for equality and social justice.